Hey everybody. So there's some requests to see the leather patcher in action, sewing through some actual leather and take a look at the stitch quality. So this is just a quick video showing it going through a couple different thicknesses of leather, and then we'll take a look at how the stitches look after it's done. And I'll also show you a little bit about the needles because they're not quite standard setup. They're a different type of needle than comes with this machine. But overall, I am super happy with this machine. It does a great job. It really hasn't had any problem getting through any level of thickness that I throw at it. And especially considering I haven't tuned up the machine itself at all. I've really only fabricated the motor components. So there's lots of filing and greasing that still needs to be done on the machine itself. It's performed admirably well, especially for being such a cheap, kind of crude machine. So yeah, hope you enjoy. Feel free to ask any questions. I'll answer them down in the comments, and I hope this is inspiration for anyone that wants to do a similar thing to their patcher.
So you can see some of the issues with these patchers is the foot has teeth on it, pretty aggressive teeth, and so it leaves marks, especially on something like this, which is oil tanned. It leaves these kind of teeth marks. A lot of people will file those smooth or coat them in like Plasti Dip or something. So that's something I'll take care of in the future. But yeah, the stitches don't look too bad. One of the issues also with the patcher is it basically goes in the direction you have the foot set. So if the foot is a little off center, then it drifts. So you just, it's something to be careful about, keep an eye on. But the stitches look good. They're nice and even. The needle I'm using has naturally kind of this left to right slant. So that's expected going from, the top up here to the bottom down there. But they look even. The tension's pretty good. Probably need to adjust it a little bit. So the bottom's a little tighter than the top. So the top tension probably needs a little bit of adjusting. And this is 69 thread with, let me grab the needles, with these 134, 35 LR needles, or 120 over 19. These are not an exact fit. So if I show you, here I'll pan around. So this is the needle that came with the machine. You can see it's got a flat on one side. This is just a standard kind of ballpoint. So not super great for leather work. So I bought a bunch of chisel points of different varieties. This is the set. I was told that these 134 35s, they're also known just as DP 35s. I was told these fit, or at least I've read that they fit online. So I picked up a whole bunch of these in different configurations. This is an LR needle that I'm using. But as you can see, the chisel point is the one on the left, and the one that came with the machine is here on the right, and it's a little bit long. So that messes up the timing if you try to use it just directly. So the needle that's currently in the machine, I just took a Dremel cutoff tool and shortened it up a bit. These also don't have a flat, but it doesn't seem to make a difference. You just have to get it in so that the hole is lined up where it should be, and everything clamps down okay. So not having a flat's not a big deal. You don't have to worry about grinding one on, but you might have to shorten it if you're using, these kind. The reason I did this is it's hard to find. Oh, it's magnetic. It's hard to find these standard needles. I forget what they are. I'll figure it out and put it in the show notes. But it's hard to get these needles in larger sizes. So they pretty much cap out at 69 thread. And I wanted to use something larger, say like 92. And it's just hard to find these. And it's also hard to find the different chisel types because there's a whole bunch of different styles of chisels. So that's why I went to these, which I thought would work just without modification. But they do require just, a little bit of grinding off the end, and that's it. All right, so we're gonna try 4 pieces, and this is just about 8 millimeters of thickness. So we'll see if that can fit. It fits under there, so we'll see if it can sew it. All right. Alright, let's pan over, see what happened. Oops. So that actually brings up a good point, which is something that needs to be fixed in the final model. This motor mount here, you can see, is just screwed directly into this 2x4. It essentially means it's tensioned by hand. I just put some force on the belt and then screwed it down by hand. There's no actual adjustment, which is one of the reasons why the belt popped off. It's not quite aligned, so it's getting pushed a little bit over. The pulley doesn't have really the correct geometry, and so it slips off if it's not aligned more precisely than you would expect normally from a V-belt. And then it's not actually tensioned correctly. There's a bit too much slack currently here. So yeah, something that needs to be fixed in the future iterations. Try this again. Now with this patcher, it doesn't have, oops, let's go ahead and drop it in. So it doesn't have a back stitch, essentially, which is a little irritating. It would be nice if it had a way to back stitch. So the way you do it is actually manually. You pull the foot up, you spin it around, and set the foot going back the way you came. Set the foot down, and then the tricky bit is, since there's no back stitch, it's relying on you to line everything up correctly. So hopefully we're going back the way we came and go back in the same holes, which is a little tricky, but it's so slow it's really not hard to control. And now we can lift the foot up, which is here, spin it back around. Right about there. Drop the foot. And go again. Okay. Pull the foot up and pull it out. So I'd say it did a pretty good job. That was 4 layers, about 8 millimeters. And the stitches are real consistent. There's not a lot of difference between each individual stitch. The holes are nicely formed, which that's more of a function of the needle. The back stitch looks real nice. So you can see here I managed to get in each of the 3 holes that I was back stitching into. And it looks very well formed. It's slightly raised, which is expected. The back looks real nice. The tension, as I said before, is probably off a little bit. It looks a little tighter on the back, like these are being pulled through a bit more than the top, which is a little looser. But yeah, they look good too. Yeah, not much to say. I'm really impressed with it. Obviously, the feet need to be dealt with. It's causing some pretty serious marring of the surface, especially on this oil tanned leather. But that's pretty easily fixed. I just need to smooth those down a little bit so they're a little less aggressive. And I do have some Plasti Dip, which I can try. Need to adjust the tension a little bit, see if I can fix this. And then this will get better too if you're doing proper leather work and have a groove that you've scraped into the top surface of the leather. So that won't be as noticeable in the future. But yeah, it's it did a good job. I'm really quite impressed. It's holding together pretty well. Yeah, so hopefully that helps if someone is thinking about doing a similar project. It really wasn't that hard, especially if you have a lathe. It'd be super easy to put these parts together. And obviously you don't have to use the motor that I used. Pretty much any, good sized, torquey, slow RPM motor, which should do the job. So, yeah, thanks for watching.